So my question is that the Rebbe talks many times about tzedakah.
Right.
And he's encouraging people and pushing people. And the Alter Rebbe tells us we give 20%, more than 20%. And it seems to be this push and push and push. I've personally seen many miracles through tzedakah. Huge miracles. Did the Rebbe ever tell anybody to pull back, ever? I always hear pushing forward. Did he ever, are you aware of the Rebbe ever saying anything in the opposite direction? If someone's being in trouble.
There is a rule in Judaism. It's really a rule in Judaism, not just in Jewish philosophy and theology, but Jewish law. There is no rule without exceptions, period. But there's an exception to that rule too. And that's idolatry. Short of idolatry, there's no rule that doesn't have an exception. You got to keep Shabbos to save a life, you break Shabbos. You have to keep kosher to save a life, you eat non-kosher, and so on. So the answer to your question is, of course. Of course. I knew a man. I knew him personally. I knew him casually. Who he was a very successful man, and he was a tzaddik ayid, and he gave tzedakah. He went into the Rebbe's room with his wife, and his wife complained. And in Yechidus, the Rebbe said to this man, "Give me your checkbook." And he handed the Rebbe his checkbook, and he handed it to his wife. And he said to him in front of her, "If you want to give tzedakah, you'll ask your wife." True story. So here's the rule. The Rebbe always pushes us in a direction we're the least likely to go. Most people's problem is not that they give too much tzedakah. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You understand my drift? But the Rebbe the Rebbe was never the kind of man who had one piece of advice for everybody. He wouldn't have been a Rebbe, he would have been a fool. It was very individuated, and people heard what they needed to hear. People knew, and the Rebbe told people, I'd give you the best example for this. People complain to the Rebbe that they can't make a living. And the Rebbe would write to them that you have to believe in God and trust that we work and He provides. I would say 9 out of 10 letters go in that direction. But then there's the other letter where the Rebbe writes, God wants to feed you, but if you're not going to work, you're not going to make a living. So each person heard what they were not naturally disposed towards. And that's what the Rebbe does in every situation. That's the answer to your question.